Welcome into First Pitch for Wednesday, May 17th. It is. I am Drew Martin, joined by Bryan Leonard, Rob Vino, and Jimmy Adams of WagerTalk.com. We got big game breakdown, best bets as well for the early slate today. A couple day games we're going to get after here. And we're going to start off with our leadoff hitter here, Bryan Leonard, 5% play up in the NBA for tonight, by the way, guys. He's been good in the NBA, also good on the diamond. And Bryan, I'm seeing your big game breakdown here. A National League Central Division game between the Brewers and the Cardinals, competitively priced game here. And it's a particularly interesting handicap because, yes, Corbin Burns, big name going for the Brewers, but we get a call up here, a young gun coming from the left side in the Cardinals. Interested in your take here, Brewers and Cardinals, Bryan.
Yeah, there was a late pitch, or I guess an early pitching change here for St. Louis, and I've been waiting for this. Matthew Liberatore is a guy who came up last year. He had 7 starts, struggled. They sent him back down to the minors, and he has been lights out. And I really like the situation here for him against a Milwaukee team who is not very good against lefties. And I think he's going to have a real strong start here. Also, Corbin Burns, even though his numbers look okay, he's a totally different pitcher than he was last year. His strikeouts are way down. He was a major strikeout guy last year in his entire career. Strikeout to walk ratio, only 11.3%. Strikeouts minus walks, 11.3. That's like league average. Even Liberatore, 21.0. One, this is what we're expecting out of him. So you got a Milwaukee team with Burns on the mound that I think is overrated. You got a St. Louis team with Liberatore coming up. I like these guys that have been up and struggled, and when they get to come back up again, we see it time and time again. People say, oh, this guy was terrible last year, we don't want him. But he gains a lot of experience down in the minors, and it's something I'm looking forward to here. As I mentioned, Milwaukee not that great against lefties. And if you watched that game last night, and it was one of, I'm an 8-2, the last 10 baseball plays I've released. And one of the losses yesterday was St. Louis. They had the bases loaded, Donovan up, and the closer was in for Milwaukee. And terrible calls, strikes that were not in the strike zone. They were really upset about that, and I think it's going to have an effect here. That took St. Louis's win away. They've been playing very well. And you're coming into this game tonight, and Milwaukee's closer pitched 1 2/3 innings yesterday. And he's excellent. He's one of the best in business. So he won't be available today for the most part. So we get Milwaukee with a starting pitcher who I believe is going to struggle. He's a little bit due for some regression. And we got him without the closer. So give me St. Louis here. And I think the line tells you a little bit about how much they like St. Louis here. And you're getting them in a spot where I like them. And if you take a look at, even if you use the entire season, if you take a look at runs scored, runs against, St. Louis is actually better than the Brewers, even though they're 7.5 games out of first place.
Like it, Bryan Leonard there. Going on the Redbirds in our leadoff spot. We got Robbie Vino up next, guys. Check out RobWagerTalk.com. And Rob, I am seeing an NL East battle here. You're heading to South Florida with, speaking of young pitchers, pretty good one here for the Nationals. Actually, both guys highly regarded in the prospect role. What are you looking to do with the Nationals and Marlins down in the fish tank, Robbie?
Yeah, I'm going to shorten this one up, Drew, and go 5 innings here. Neither of these guys. Well, I'm going to play the Nationals first 5 innings of money line plus $1. The reason why I do it is because Mackenzie Gore has had a tendency as of late to run his pitch count up. So while he can be very, very good while he's in, he doesn't necessarily last a long time in games. What would be in his favor here is the fact that despite his problem with walks and high pitch counts, Miami's not a big walk team. I think they rank 4th from the bottom in walk percentage in the major leagues this year. So maybe a good matchup for him in this case where that's concerned. Edward Cabrera, I want to start with him here because the only concern I had about playing this game, Drew, was the fact that Cabrera could face a possible demotion back down to the minor leagues if, in fact, he doesn't come up with a good start here. Miami's talked about it. His last 4 starts, 17 2/3 innings total, 27 Ks. That's okay, but 14 walks. not very good. 14 hits to go with that. So the 27 strikeouts are balanced off by 28 base runners, not necessarily what the Marlins are looking for out of their right-hander. As far as first 5 inning is concerned, his last 4 starts, those 17 and 2/3 innings, he's allowed 4 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, and 5 runs in those particular games. Means that Washington should be able to get on the scoreboard here against him. When I look at Mackenzie Gore, I see a little bit of the opposite. He's had 3 quality starts in his last 5 outings. The one other one in that group of 5, Drew, one was a dud, but the other one was 4 innings pitched, no runs allowed. And again, as I referenced earlier, he was pulled out of that game because he had a 96 pitch count after 4 innings. The Nationals themselves are 4-2 against the spread, money line wise, in the first 5 in games where Mackenzie Gore has started. And they're 3-1 in the last 4. So good numbers there for Gore, certainly on a better trajectory at this particular time than is Cabrera. And the last thing I'll cite here is the Miami lineup without Jazz Chisholm. Just not as dynamic, not as explosive. I know we've only had a couple of games to see it, and now that he's out for 6 weeks, this could be a long-term problem for Miami. Obviously, they're, like I say, their most dynamic batter gone. Luis Arraez, certainly the best overall hitter, but Chisholm brings a dynamic to the club. Sunday, in the first 5 innings, without him in the lineup, they did not score. Last night, without him in the lineup, they put up 2 runs. Their win came late, 2 outs in the ninth. I think Soler hit that home run. So the lineup hasn't been good early. I don't know that they'll be good early here against Mackenzie Gore. So I'm going to shorten this one up. Take Washington on the money line, first 5 innings plus $1.
Great start here for the show from Rob Vino and Bryan Leonard. Big game breakdowns here. We got best bets as well. And guys, reminder before we get to it, please subscribe to the Wager Talk YouTube channel. You can see it right there, and smash the like button if you're liking the content here. We're going early on Wednesdays and Thursdays due to all the day games, and we're going live here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel Monday, Tuesday, and Friday for first pitch, 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time. So we got best bets coming up right now, and this is an early one, 3:45 Eastern, 12:45 Pacific. I'm heading to San Francisco for the Giants hosting the Phillies. And look, guys, I'm jumping on the home dog here. Can get them at plus 105, risk 100 to win 105 on the Giants. San Francisco's 11-3. Their last 14 against the Phillies the last 3 years. So they've had their number, kind of riding a hot hand here. Hot versus cold. And I say cold for Philadelphia. Yeah, they've lost a couple in a row. They're also 1 for their last 33 with runners in scoring position. So they have really struggled hitting the ball here. We get the hotter team, we get the home team, and we get the plus price on the San Francisco Giants. Early start here for Wednesday afternoon. Giants sweeping their first series of the season. That is my best bet, guys. I'll throw it over here to Jimmy Adams. Guys, check out Jimmy Adams, wagertalk.com. Jimmy, what do you got for best bets?
Thanks, Drew. And for today's big game breakdown, it's going to feature the Orioles and the Angels as they continue their 4-game set from Camden Yards. This is a game that just missed the card, but one you may want to consider, as Griffin Canning is a pitcher I can only look to fade in his current form. Canning has given up 5 earned in each of his past 2 starts, with 4 walks and just 6 Ks. And when you look at his analytics, nearly everything grades out as poor. You watch him pitch, you don't see above average stuff, and you don't see it on the analytics side either. He's given up way too many barrels. His hard hit percentage is 41.7%, well above league average. He has a WOBA that's well above league average as well at 341. And then we have Kyle Bradish throwing for the Orioles. His FIP is it's slightly lower than his ERA. So his numbers are right in line with his ERA. Not an elite pitcher, but someone that we can trust in this situation behind a borderline top 10 Orioles offense. Bradish coming off a very nice outing against Pittsburgh, not allowing a run over 6 innings of work. And when he exits, we can feel comfortable with this Baltimore bullpen, a top 2 bullpen in all of baseball. Short chalk here. I'm leaning towards the Orioles, and a free play that you may want to consider for today's big game breakdown.
Good stuff from Jimmy Adams. Check him out, wagertalk.com. Guys, we're going to finish here with Bryan Leonard. Check out his best bets up at wagertalk.com, and it's a 5% top play. If you like betting the NBA, it's playoff time. Bryan Leonard has been great at the NBA for multiple years here. So, Bryan, I'll throw it over to you. Final thoughts for the show. What do you got going on at wagertalk.com, and what do you got for best bets for first pitch today?
Yeah, as you mentioned, the NBA 5% play. It's the first NBA play I've had in 11 days. Always done very well in the NBA playoffs, just like a lot of us do. I really enjoy the NHL and the NBA playoffs, and it works very well for our clients. But haven't seen a game worthy of playing, but today I have. So I use that as a 5%, and haven't had a 5% NBA play in a while. So, and also have our baseball up for today, and looking for a really good day. 8-2 run in baseball. I'm going to go back to the game that Rob spoke about earlier. I'm in agreement. I like the situation here for Washington. If you're looking at the two between Gore and Cabrera, as Rob mentioned, Cabrera is a guy that is struggling right now, and he may be sent to the minors. There's been a lot of talk that he'd be better in the bullpen. He's got great stuff, but has problems with walks. In fact, you take a look at the numbers on the season. He's got an 18.3% walk percentage. This Washington team, I like some of these young bats on this team. I think they'll draw some walks here. And in a game in this price range and in this total range, walks could make a major difference here. The one thing I thought was very interesting out of this is when you take a look at Edward Cabrera, like I said, 18.3 walk percentage. But if you take a look at his number of pitches down the heart of the plate, 16.4. That's by far the best out of everybody pitching today. So it makes you wonder if he can avoid the middle of the plate. Why is he walking so many guys? And he's just trying to fine tune. He's just trying to, he thinks he's Greg Maddux trying to paint the corners, and he just doesn't have that ability right now. So I just thought that was really funny and something to take a look at. If you take a look at these Stuff Plus numbers, Mackenzie Gore is rated 5% better than Cabrera, so I like that as well. And the batted ball quality so far this season, we're seeing a blast rate from Cabrera at 6.5%, Mackenzie Gore only 2.2. You take a look at what they've done at home and away. Mackenzie Gore has actually been better on the road. 2.91 ERA, 2.64 xFIP. I like Washington here. I'm going to take them for the full game, as opposed to what Rob was talking about. And the reason being that Washington had that game, and they go to the bottom of the ninth inning and they give up the 3 runs. They lose that game. The two guys are their key guys, their 8th and 9th inning guys, pitched yesterday, but they combined only pitched 32 pitches. They'll be able to come back tonight. And I really think Washington is a team on the rise. Miami 13-1 in 1-run games. Keep that in mind, that they've been very lucky in these 1-run games. And this one could go down to that again. Plenty of regression coming for Miami in that regard. Give me Washington full game.
Like in the Nationals here from Bryan Leonard. Again, guys, reminder, check out his 5% top-rated NBA play available at wagertalk.com. Rob Vino, last, certainly not least, guys. Again, you can check him out, wagertalk.com. And I am seeing what the Mets and the Rays here, Rob. What are you looking to do with Tampa and New York?
Yeah, and real quick here, Drew, from the NBA playoffs tonight, I also have a 4% best bet available on this Boston-Miami game. The month of May has been really, really good for us, where NBA basketball playoffs are concerned, up 26 units for the month, where totals are concerned. And that's where we went tonight. We found a specific total that we liked in this game tonight. So that's up and available right now. Best bet, NBA playoffs, and Major League Baseball daytime action also available on my page at wagertalk.com. Again, Drew, I'm going to shorten this one up to the 5-inning line. But instead of playing money line, I'm going to lay the half a run and take plus 05 and maybe go against the grain here, because who wants to stand in front of Tampa Bay at this point in time, right? But I'm going to try Kodai Senga and the New York Mets here in this particular contest against Josh Fleming, and what amounts to really a bullpen game for the masters of the bullpen games, the Tampa Bay Rays. They kind of invented it, and certainly it looks like that's what it'll be here today with Josh Fleming on the hill, only making his second start of the season, 8 appearances. The other 7 were all in relief. I think the Tampa Bay would like a little more than an opener type outing out of Josh Fleming, but I don't know that they can get it, Drew. He has not been effective all season long. 45 base runners allowed in only 31 innings pitched. That's a 1.45 whip, the 4.26 ERA to go with it. And I think what's more telling is that he's a contact pitcher against the Mets lineup that has now scored 16 runs in the last 3 days. The Mets had gone through a pretty good offensive low for a strong portion of this month, but last 3 games, hitting the ball a little bit better, scoring more runs, and where Josh Fleming is concerned, he's got a 1.2 to 1 K to walk ratio. So the Mets figure, I guess a guy that doesn't strike anybody out, they figured to make pretty solid contact here. In the one start that he made, it was way back on April the 4th against the Washington Nationals. He only lasted 3 innings, gave up 10 hits, 5 earned runs, a couple of home runs in that game. So maybe the Mets early can get a piece of this lefty. Where Senga is concerned, rough outing the last time out against Cincinnati. No doubt about it. The Mets didn't support him at all, but he still didn't pitch effectively in that game. But for these teams that are going to see him for the first time, I do give him the advantage first couple of times through the batting order, and that's why we're shortening it up to 5 innings here. The first couple of times should be an advantage for Senga while the Tampa Bay Rays hitters feel him out. Senga, like what I talked about earlier and Bryan talked about with Mackenzie Gore, Edwin Cabrera has been the walks. And hopefully here Senga against, again, a fairly aggressive team. Tampa Bay ranks, I think, bottom echelon, bottom half of Major League Baseball in walk percentage. As an offense, they'd rather swing than walk. Hopefully Senga can avoid some walks here because last 18 innings, he's only given up 1 home run. He's really contained the long ball in his last 3 starts. In his 3 home starts this year in Citi Field, 17 innings pitched, 10 hits, 1.58 ERA, 1.24 whip. Where first 5 inning run line goes, the Mets are 5-2 with Senga on the hill against the spread. So I have no fear laying the half a run here. It's interesting, Drew, because there seems to be some backing for that here today. The line has come in the Mets' favor pretty strongly in this particular bet. I thought I might be a lone wolf here, but apparently not. We're going to take 105, lay half a run with Kodai Senga. Hope that the Mets bats get to Josh Fleming. I think they will, and scoop up a 5-inning victory here.
Like the analysis there, Rob, going up against the Rays, always a tough proposition, but he makes some good points on the Metropolitans. So guys, that's going to do it for the show here. We got big game breakdown, best bets in the books. Check out Bryan Leonard and that 5% play up for the NBA playoffs tonight. Robbie talked about it in his 4% play. All going tonight, wagertalk.com. I am Drew Martin for Bryan Leonard, Rob Vino, and Jimmy Adams. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Smash that like button, cash those tickets.